In the fire and security industry, generic marketing does not work. If you've tried it in the past and perhaps you've not got the results that you've wanted, I'm going to talk you through exactly why you didn't get the results you wanted and an action plan as to how you in the future can get the results you actually need for your business in terms of getting commercial inquiries for your business. Before you go into this video thinking that marketing does not work in the fire and security industry, it absolutely does. And the reason I know this is because I implement these systems for my clients and I get them results in terms of inquiries and commercial business. Marketing has to be done by someone who actually can understand the industry to a certain degree. So to start this, I'm going to go with two main examples of marketing methods which companies use. The first one is Google Ads. Now, you may have experimented with Google Ads before in some capacity. Maybe you hired an agency, but I'm going to focus more on if you're a business owner who wanted to try it for themselves. You don't have to pay for an expensive agency. So the first thing which we have to understand is oftentimes you'll get paired with the Google Ads manager. There'll be someone who will reach out to you from Google via email who will give you some insights and tips to optimize your campaigns. And these will oftentimes be useful tips showing you how to use the Google Ads platform to make sure you're getting the most from your money. Now, the reason why this is oftentimes a mistake is because there is a clear conflict of interest. Your Google Ads manager, who is from Google, has the primary objective of incentivizing you to spend as much money as possible. They don't necessarily care if you make a lot of money or if you get a return on investment. Their primary focus is to ensure you spend as much money as possible. Okay. Now, obviously, they do want to help in some regard, but the advice they oftentimes give is generic. It's platform related. It's not business related. They don't understand your offer, the keywords you provide, the kind of customers you want. So that's a clear conflict of interest as to why they're not probably going to give you the best result possible. And that may have led to you getting burned by Google Ads in the past. Maybe you haven't got the best results. Maybe you've got really fluctuating results. So understanding this first is quite important. The second marketing method is local SEO. Now, oftentimes, if you do start to work with an agency who does local SEO, they will target quite generic keywords and keywords that don't actually target the right target audience. And there'll be, for example, keywords like fire companies near me, right? Which is, a pretty generic keyword. I don't think it targets the right audience. From the data I've seen, there are better keywords because oftentimes an agency will just look for low competition, high traffic keywords, which will allow you to rank for some keywords. This is kind of a vanity metric which they'll provide to you. You'll oftentimes see reports every month which show that, hey, we're getting you X amount of visitors, we're getting you X amount of impressions on your website, but they're not focusing on the inquiries, which is the main kind of driver of business. They're not focusing on the sales, which are coming as a result of the inquiries and the traffic, right? So you have to be careful about looking at vanity metrics, and you should ask your provider to speak with you about inquiries, okay? Now, this is oftentimes a bit more of a painful understanding because people it's much easier to report and to get traffic to your website. It's much harder to get inquiries. So with these 2 points in mind, let's break down exactly why, or actually how, in the fire and security industry, marketing should work. What should you target? So from a fundamental perspective, let's make the distinction. There are two kind of customers there's probably three, but two kind of customers which the companies I work with target. You've got residential, you've got commercial customers. I'm going to focus on those high quality commercial customers. And we're going to make the distinction. A residential customer, so a homeowner, their primary concern is price. Okay, they have the buyer journey where they go around perhaps on Google or they are looking on social media and they see an ad, right? They click on an ad, they go to a website, they ask for a quote. They do this for probably 5 to 10 different businesses. They find the cheapest quote or the quote which seems to be the best value for money. And then they buy, right? They buy based on price primarily. The second kind of customer is the commercial customer. And we're making the distinction. This is the high value commercial customer. These are the guys who buy based on reliability. They want a contractor who they can work with for years to come. So what is different between their buyer journey and a homeowner's buyer journey, for example, right? Well, a high value commercial customer, let's say they've got their job on the line because they need a reliable solution, okay? They're not going to buy the cheapest guy because that's oftentimes going to lead to, you buy cheap, you buy twice. They're going to install a crappy solution. That's not going to work. They're going to have to get a proper professional in, and that's just bad for everyone, okay? What they want is someone who is reliable. That's their primary concern. So their buyer journey will oftentimes look like they'll go to Google, right? Well, first, obviously, they'll go to their network. They'll ask people who they trust, colleagues, and get referrals, which is oftentimes, if maybe if you run a fire and security company, you find that you get a lot of commercial customers from referrals, because this is the primary trust signal, right? You would trust a colleague. If a colleague told you about a contractor who was reliable, you'd trust them. So it's this exact same way. But a step below that, right, is Google. They'll search on Google and they'll look for companies and contractors in their local area who can supply the services they need. They'll go to their website and they will look for trust signals. They'll look for testimonials. They'll look for case studies. They'll look for past work. They want to know that this company can actually service them, that they provide the right solutions for them. Manufacturers as well, that's an important one. They want to make sure that they provide the right manufacturers, because there are certain ones they probably have on a blacklist. But these kind of 4 things are things which need to be focused on your website and in your copywriting. You can't go off onto a generic drivel about, hey, we offer the best price, we offer 100% money back guarantee, because to be honest with you, for someone who's looking for a solution as soon as possible, right, they're like driven by an actual need, they're not going to worry too much about this, money back guarantee kind of thing. Those are more strategies you'd use for a residential customer, a homeowner. For a commercial customer, you want to put forward case studies. You want to put forward action evidence, hard evidence that shows that you're the right company for them. Images as well, right? Images and videos show a window into your company, show a window into your brand, how it is to work with your contracting company. And that's very important. So with these things in mind, getting these high quality commercial customers is really down to you understanding what they want. And, the best way, right, if you don't have a marketing budget, or if you don't want to invest in an agency, the best thing you can do is start to talk to your ideal customers. If you have past customers who you've worked with in the past, and, you generally really like to work with them, you want to ask them, hey, how'd you find us? Hey, if you were to find a new contract for XYZ, where would you look? What would you look for? What do you, has there been a contract in the past that you've worked with you didn't like, or one that you did like? These kinds of questions are so valuable because they know, or they inform you what you should start talking about on your website and on your online presence, right? And I'm only talking about the website. We could extend the strategy to LinkedIn and all other social media platforms, because I'm pretty sure that your ideal customers are on LinkedIn. And I've seen it actually time and time again, various people who are talking about how they make hundreds of thousands in the fire and security industry by getting commercial and also public sector clients from LinkedIn, from networking. So it's definitely possible. It's just the case that you have to position yourself as the right guy for the job. And you can't do that by targeting the cheap guys, the people who, they want low value, they want just low price solutions. We don't target those people. We target the best, because that's going to lead to business growth, ongoing referrals, and you're going to end up being able to give the customer a actually good solution. They're going to be happy. They're going to leave reviews. That's the way forward. So my advice, moral of the story, is to start looking at case studies, talk with your past customers, talk with your ideal customers, find out what they want, and position your business as the business that can give them what they want. It's that simple. All right. Best of luck in your marketing journey. And yeah, if you need more advice, just drop me a message. Peace.